Howdy, folks. I'm Rebecca Jolly, the Jolly Alchemist, here today with the Neutrino forecast for Wednesday, the 24th of September, 2025. Today we are in a shifting, transitional phase as the right angle cross of love in the lower numbers, very inwardly focused, moves to the fourth line, where we have the last bit of the personal kinds of things going on, and then we switch to the juxtaposition cross of serendipity, and then tomorrow we'll move into the left angle. So what's happening in this shift between the 4-6 profile and the 4-1 profile is that the underlying support changes from 15 and 10 to 52 and 58. Let me make sure about that. Yep, it sure is. 52 and 58. So 52 is concentration, mountain stillness, and 58 is joyous vitality. I have both of those actually. Interesting. I actually have everything but 25 of the cross of serendipity just in my chart randomly, not at the top or anything. But the cross of serendipity is about really being in the fullness and the fixed state of being in the right time and the right place. Everything about the 4-1 and even the 4, but specifically the 4-1 is very fixed. It's on a track, and it's almost like a manifester kind of thing. It's the nature of all juxtaposition crosses that they're on a fixed track, they're doing their thing, and you can either join in with them or get out of the way, but they've got this sort of a vortex around them, and everyone around them is going to be kind of on their path. Well, I have two examples of it today, both of them very interesting. The first is Wolfgang Gluck. What do you know? The guy is so lucky his name is Luck. That's amazing. And then we have Barbara Walters. So Wolfgang Gluck is golly, there's translations here. Austrian, thank you. Austrian, like an entertainment type person with having to do with movies, film, opera, even. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but okay. Obviously, that's a position that takes a lot of kinds of luck, and Barbara Walters, I think we can all agree, has had tremendous luck in her life, and it happens by really focusing on the experience in the now, like being present in the experience. Don't worry about it while you're in it. Just submit to the experience and wait until afterwards when you can look back on it and then gain wisdom from what you learned. So 46 line 4 is influential in 64 keys. Ra calls it impact. And the definition is exerting influence through luck and purposefulness. Of course, that fourth line is always wanting to have an influence or an impact on the other. And in this case, it's about the ability to rise from obscurity into a position of power very easily. And that something that kind of goes with it is sometimes the tendency for these people to forget the people who helped them up, or as Ross says, to bite the hand that feeds them sometimes. And he says you've got to remove judgment from that because they're not doing it on purpose. That's part of their thing. But he said that this can also in some cases lead to psychic crashes for these people as they come to a point where they're in therapy and they're realizing all the people that they kind of stomped on the way up. So not an easy kind of an energy to bear, but that's just the way it is. They can be very, very lucky, but they can also have a price to pay for that luck. 25-4 is also in this cross, and 64 keys calls it innocence, maintaining the nature of true innocence. We've seen this several times before in the recent past. And at least I remember writing it over and over. And Ra calls it survival. So it's about the ability to maintain true innocence no matter what's going on. He calls it as a, sort of a catchy name, the rose in the garbage dump. And I know somebody who carries this line, and she definitely has about her an air of a very sweet kind of innocence, even though she's, lived through and survived a lot of trauma in her life. So I'm like, okay, that's where that comes from. All right, then. Our moon starts off in 50, line 3, 50 being the gate of values. We're going to see that twice today, of course. And line 3, which we have seen recently because Mars is all the way to 50, line 6 now, is adaptability, awareness that support is necessary. So this is really about knowing that you are needing other people in your life, that you can't maintain your values without help from the outside. In this case, that the moon does give it an up arrow on it, and that is the wisdom to ally with strong forces, seeing that one can't make it alone, and one's values cannot be maintained otherwise. I think I have a third, or I have a 50th gate activation, but I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 in my case. It is 3. I carry this. Okay, as I was about to say, even if I have 4, I feel like I resonate with this really a lot, because through the difficult times that I have survived, and I promise I have had my share of pain and suffering, I had to do what I had to do. Sometimes I had to show people my titties to get some money to make the rent. That's just how that went. I had to feed those babies. I had to take care of them. I had to get support. And my values, which definitely entailed being able to stay home with my children, even though I did not have the support I was originally promised, couldn't have been maintained otherwise. It was very important for me to be with my children. Of course, they were unschooled, so they couldn't have done that without me actually being in the home with them, which meant I couldn't work, which meant we lived very, very poor. But so I see this adaptability. I definitely had to be very adaptable in that situation in order to be able to provide even the bare minimum of necessities for my children as I was raising them. Tough, tough times. So when the moon is done with 50, it will move to 28. That's the gate of risks. Here, it's that individual channel of struggle or challenge. And then it will move to 44. This one I have in orange here, unconscious. And that is, I call it situational awareness, but Ra calls it collaboration. But it's really about being aware of what kinds of people you can work together with to get things done, to make sure that needs are being met. It's, one of these tribal kinds of energies. So that's the moon. Then Mercury moves into 48-1. We talked about that yesterday, and that was pragmatism, paying attention to what's practical. Today it moves into 48, line 2, rejection, recognizing and resisting what is inferior. All right. Look forward to learning more about that one. And 48.3, isolation, the development of depth as a process in isolation. Of course, that third line is always bonds made and broken, coming and going. So I guess what's happening there is that they're looking for depth on the outside, but they're not seeing it. So then they're retreating and going to find their depth in isolation as a result of that. So much of a back and forth kind of energy in the 48. Venus it starts off in 40, line 1, but again, oh no, we didn't look at that yesterday because it's just barely starting today. And so that is relaxation, enjoying the fruits of one's labors. It does move into line 2 actually, towards the end of the day, so I can tell you what that is real quick. And that is liberation, to shed disrupting qualities. We learned when we were looking at this 40th gate that it's really about, it's here in the willpower center, this will to provide, to bring resources into the community, what I call the bacon bringer. And it's very much about an awareness of who's asking too much for me. Am I going to get enough in response for activating that willpower motor in order to go out and do the work? So that shedding of disrupting qualities and, not being willing to take on jobs from other people that much unless the person's own will is involved. And of course, they want a reward for it. Mars. Okay. Mars continues in 50 line 6. Oh, yeah. All day long. And we did, it did start yesterday, so I'll just remind you, that was with emphasis, leadership maintained through maintaining one's values with vigor. Of course, again, this is gate 50, that values and accepting responsibility, because that's part of that nurturing channel coming off of the sacral to the splenic center. So the 50th gate is the beginning of our intelligence, and it's associated with the fear of accepting responsibility, as we learned in the short just recently. So there is that. There are no internal connections in the chart today. Of course, there's a very good chance that the transit will in one way or another connect your individual design. And if you want to know more about that, come on and see me over at Jolly Alchemy and we can look at your individual transits. The global energies are staying the same for today. Just to remind you as to what they are, it's about paying attention to detail work in, all by yourself, foundational detail work, and innocent healing in the now, and this maintaining of traditional values as we work through those last 4 planets in retrograde. So, all right, we've got that. Our song for today, for young people, it's Good Luck by Mabel, Jax Jones, and Galantis. For those of you who are old school, I would say it could definitely be, a Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. You remember that one from the old days? You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. Yeah, that one. And I thought... At first I thought that the Good Luck song, the newer one, was more appropriate because really we're looking about being influential through the luck and the, purposefulness? Yeah, purposefulness. And in Good Luck, you have one woman basically talking to another, or maybe to her younger self, and saying, he'd be lucky to have you, he's never going to find someone as good as you, you're such a wonderful, powerful woman, and, good luck to him finding something better. And I thought, okay, well, she's trying to exert an influence on this other person, whereas the older song, the Kenny Rogers one, is more just like, yeah, you got to know, luck is about being in the right time, in the right place, kind of a thing, doing the right thing in the right time, in the right place, knowing when to hold them and fold them. But then when I actually listened to the song, I remember that you've got one gambler talking to another, so he is actually trying to influence him. So, okay, I guess they could both stand there. It just depends on how you want to look at it, whether you're old school or new school. Fine, there's a song for both of you. So that is it for today. Come on back tomorrow and we will do another forecast looking at Thursday, right? Yeah, we did Wednesday today. Tomorrow's Thursday. Until then, ciao.